What's going on? What's going on? Welcome, everyone, to Kitchen Conversations, where we stand in this divine space of open communication, recognizing the beauty of Black lives and our journey, hoping to inspire each of you to a greater awakening of how you can be active in moving equality forward. So let us send this blessing out to the world, opening up our heart space, opening up our consciousness, opening the power of thought. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. Spirit divine, here in me, feeling love endlessly. Open my eyes, allow me to see the beauty and love here in me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. So taking this breath, the breath of holiness, into this divine space right here and now, as we stand with our ancestors, we stand in this magnificent path and glory of divine right action taking place now. We stand in the awareness that we are on the forefront of moving this divine nation, this world, into a greater expression to be, where equality is the way that life is. We breathe in the holiness of spirit and recognize in this one moment right now, we feel this divine presence radiating in and through each of us. Knowing that as I recognize for myself, I lift up this entire world to a greater understanding of who and what we are. I lift up equality. I lift up humanity. I am that which I am. We are brothers and sisters. And it is now the divine time that we come together and recognize that the presence of spirit, God, light, whatever you call it, can contain, can hold every last one of us and all of our views and opinions, our race, our sexuality, every divine thing. This presence can. And so now we join in this presence and hold this truth that each and every one of us are here in the right place. And we will not rest until all of us are living in equality, until all of us are free. Well, you better listen, my sister and brothers, 'cause if you do, you will hear there's a voice still calling across the years. And they're crying across the ocean, and we're crying across the land, and we will till we all come to understand that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. There are people in the darkness, and they just can't see the light. If you don't say it's wrong, that says it's right. Oh, we gotta give love to each other. Show our brothers and sisters that we care. Come on, send the message out loud and clear. 'Cause none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. Ah, none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us, if one of us is in chains, don't you know we are not free? Oh, Linda Ely. Ah, thank you. Yes, that is our theme song. So get ready for an amazing night, a fun night, a very open and expressive night. Get ready maybe to have your feathers shaken and stirred because it's all good. Check out this playlist, and then we will be back with our panel. And here we are with our beautiful panel. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hey,
Hello.
Gino.
We have
How are
Esther.
you?
Esther, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Melanie, say hi.
Hi.
And Celeste, say hello to everyone.
What's up, everybody?
Just so that I can clarify, Reverend Esther and Reverend Celeste, and I put the Buddhist right in the middle.
All right.
I love
Very good.
it. So, welcome to Kitchen Conversations. Let's just jump right in. So, I'll ask each of you, what is it like being a black woman? What has been your experience of being a black woman in America? And I'll start with you, Esther.
Well, that's a very interesting question because I don't know any other thing. I was born black. I'm gonna be black tomorrow. I was black yesterday, so it's not much to compare it to. But as a black woman in America, I have always had to be conscious of my movements, of everything I did in life. I've always had to be conscious of my surroundings, the situations I was in, what I said, how I thought, and how I raised my children. You know, I was going through a program that I'm working on, and one of the topics in there was the talk. if any of you women or anyone in the audience that's black and have children, you got to have a dog. That's something that other races don't really have to think about. We have to think about things all the time. Another question I put to, especially my white friends, if you woke up tomorrow and you were black, would you know what to do? Would you know how to fix your hair? Would you? No. But if I woke up tomorrow and I was white, I would know exactly what to do because I've been forced to learn your culture. I had to. See, you didn't have to learn mine, but I had to learn yours because it was my very survival. I had to know it. So, but I've loved being black. Don't
I
get me
love
wrong. I love it. I love my blackness.
I love it. I love it. Melanie?
One time I heard a,
Oh, that's my little
I'm
nephew
sorry,
barking.
your nephews. I heard a white woman say that she didn't realize she was white until she was a certain age. And so it stuck with me. It was like, well, did you look in the mirror? I mean, did you, as a kid, did you, what? How did you not realize this? I didn't ask her that because, she seemed embarrassed in the first place to have to say it, but it was a true fact. And as I thought about it, I realized I didn't think about it either when I was young. When you're young, I don't think maybe kids now do, but you don't really think about, or I should speak for myself, I didn't think about the fact that I was black until I got older and I realized what that truly meant. And my mother was a single mom. And so she had the talk, with me as well, and then I started getting it. Oh, I'm different. I thought I was like everybody else. You telling me no? And so as I've gotten older, I clearly understand what it means to be black here in America and how things have not been built for us to succeed.
Yes.
Maybe to an extent, and we have to hustle more than anyone else, however, I've always been proud to be black. Never a moment did I say to myself, I wish I was somebody, not 1 minute. My mother raised me to be a proud black woman, and, as a single black woman in herself, in the 60s, she really struggled to raise me and to make me feel proud and never ever, to this day, have I bowed down or, not been proud to be black. So, with that, it's kind of easy being black in America. For me, coming from that point of view, because in the 60s, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And there was no apologies for that, in South Central LA.
Right.
You were black and you liked it.
Thank you.
Period.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Celeste?
I can remember a Halloween when I was, I don't know, about 8 or 9 years old. And we were told, N words, go back to your own neighborhood, when all we were doing was trick or treat. So me, being a black woman meant not being welcome. A black female not really being welcome. What it meant to me as time went on is you're here to serve and to be in servitude. You are here to be in service to other people who appear to be important. And our importance never came from the outside world. It only came from inside the home, inside the family, and inside the churches where we were acknowledged for our beauty and our magnificence and our power. But in the outer world, um, wasn't as loving and accepting. I too am a child of the 60s, and so I've seen some change. It's very slow, but underneath there always seems to rise an anger or some type of discontent when a person of color is present. Easily mocked, but celebrating our culture, celebrating our food, our music, our talent, right?
Right.
But not expecting us to overshadow um, those who consider themselves to be supreme or superior, right? But thank God I have an innate knowing of who I am based on the strength of my ancestors and the beautiful line of Black women that I come from.
Awesome. You know, all of you remind me of a story. Actually, a true thing. Most of you know I do impersonations, or I used to. I did Aretha, Tina Turner, Ella Fitzgerald, and I remember being at this major conference, and there was a white girl doing Tina Turner, and yeah, and she got booked to go to Africa.
That's blasphemy.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, in more ways than one. And I went to the agents. I said, "Oh, okay, this is great." I said, "You know what? I'm going to do Marilyn Monroe." You know, that's absurd. What do you mean you're going to do Marilyn Monroe? I said, "Well, she's doing Tina Turner." "Oh, but that's Holly. Holly's white." And so I love what you mentioned, Esther, about having to learn the white culture, not necessarily them having to learn our culture, appreciating our culture, taking everything they can. I remember when Bo Derek said that she invented cornrows. It was like, stop. So how, because that just brings up so much. It's like, wow, the things that we have created, that we have invented, history has shaded that away. They've taken things away. In bringing that forward, Esther, how have you dealt? You know, they call that, I read something, someone sent me, the code switch, that we're one way when we're with our peeps, and when we're in mixed company, we're another way. And most Black people kind of have that.
Well, see, Gino, that has gotten me into trouble.
Yep.
Because I don't do the switch very well. Which you did. Okay?
Yes.
And again, I'm a child of the 60s as well. And I grew up in a small town, but it was, you know, we had our community of Black, and I was always in trouble, of course. But we also went to school with white kids, so I didn't really learn how to stay in, quote, my place. And my mother was always, you know, yanking on me, pulling on my hair. Hey, shut up, Esther, you know. I didn't know, and I never learned that. But I do know it, and I see it quite often. I've seen it in our communities. I've seen it in our culture where people just totally switch when they get into the white culture, and they're a different person than what they are when they're in the Black culture. And it's really sad that we as a people cannot be who we truly are, because I think we're magnificent.
We are.
We have survived so much, and we have thrived and continue to contribute to this world in a way that no other race has. And for that reason, I don't think I innately knew it, but for that reason, what you see is what you get. This is it.
Hey
This is
now.
it. You know. So
That's right.
yeah.
So, Mel, how do you feel like that? Do you have the switch code? Have you ever recognized yourself doing it? I know I have. I have done a lot of switch coding. They even had a picture of my president, President Obama, where he meets this. It was one of the basketball or football teams, and with the white coach, he shook his hand. It was basketball. When he got to Kevin Durant, it was like, "Yo, brother!" It was,
Right.
and it is that love embrace. A lot of times, when I think when we reach a certain plateau as well, that it's just that, oh, look, you here, congrats. So, have you felt it? Have you had that feeling that you walk into a place and people are looking at you because you are black? Or you're
Of
in a
course.
group of people that are white and you're the only black one and they wondering, what's she doing there? How she fit in?
She must be lost. That's my favorite.
But
Well, of course, and I always feel a sense of comfort and camaraderie when I'm with my people. It's just automatic. It's like if I'm someplace and it's all white and I'm the only black person, I'm looking. I'm like, and when I do see another black person, I have to somehow acknowledge them. Now, sometimes that doesn't work, and I just get ignored, like, they didn't see that we're the only two black people. They don't want to acknowledge that, so that's sad, but, it's that way. And I don't think it benefits anyone to change when you're with white people, I just don't think it benefits them, it doesn't benefit me. I've been in many situations where I'm the only black person, and it's very challenging, because I find white people want you to be a certain way. They want you to be that person they saw on TV. They want you to talk that slang. It makes them feel comfortable for some reason. Or they want to, yo, what's up? It's like, don't do that. You don't have to talk to me like that, yo, what's up kind of stuff, for me to relate to you. So it's a lot of different things. It's,
I
we
do.
all know what
I
I'm
do.
saying.
I do. Celeste, you want to chime in here?
Well, sure. I've found myself skilled in being able to code switch, when I would talk crazy around the house, I'm gonna say, stop doing that because, you get stuck. Just like I used to tell you, stop frowning and your eyebrows gonna stay that way. But I know how to, I just do it less and less. I mean, I can remember being in a restaurant with my aunt and she would whisper, white people. I'm like, white people, just white people, right? And so, for me, the older I get, the less willing I am to adjust because I figure this is me, and this is what you call for, this is what you ask for, and I'm here. So don't expect anything different than the real thing.
This is beautiful to have this conversation because this is one of the things of kitchen conversations that, when you with your people, there's a different conversation that's had than when you're in mixed company. And I remember someone saying to me, I've been blessed to travel all over the world and do what I love singing. And someone said, one morning I came into this spiritual community and I'm doing me. And the minister came up to me and said, Gino, that's a little too much for us. And I said, well, what you mean? I knew what she was talking about. She said, that gospel thing that you're doing, it's a little too much for us. And I said, well, actually, I'm not doing gospel. I said, I was raised Catholic. I said, this is just my spirit. And so she went on to ask if I could do some Broadway. And I love Broadway, but it's a different thing for Sunday morning. And so, there's a part of me that learned to navigate, and that's what I would call it, to navigate in different scenarios. And, all three of you beautiful spirits having a spiritual practice, how do you find that you stand on anchored ground right now and really stand for us and not allow, and I want to say, how do I want to say this? Our spiritual practices are great, but now how do we put into action to help move our world forward? Anybody?
I think that's very interesting. I just had an experience this past week where a white female felt that she needed to tell me how to run my meeting. She actually sent me an agenda on how I should run my abundance meeting. And it bothered me. I had to really call in some help because what it made me, what I saw immediately was microaggression. This Black woman cannot know spirit, okay? And I find that we have to stand strong in what we know and say no. I had to respond to her, and I was polite. I said, thank you for your input, but I'm led by spirit, and this was given to me by divine design. And so I will not restrict. I will not put your structure here. I will continue to allow people to be spontaneous and let spirit speak to them in the moment. And if that's not okay with you, at any moment you can make another choice and get off this room. Okay? It's your choice. But this is how this is going to run. And I think we have to stand as Black women, especially women with that live in spirit. We have to stand in our power. We have to stand in our truth at all times and not and be unapologetic. Really, be unapologetic because the same spirits that's work. Well, I'm not going to even say that. There's one. And it's in all of us. Now, the spirit they may want to show may not be the spirit that I'm allowed working through me, but there is only one.
Right.
And so I always defer to that higher self. And it doesn't matter what the audience is or where I'm at. I can't deny my spirit. I can't. I won't. And I won't apologize for it.
I agree. Or justify. Make justifications.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Mel or Celeste?
Well, I need my spiritual practice. When I was staying in a predominantly white, and where Breonna Taylor had been killed in her sleep, it was difficult for me to sleep at night. I didn't know if I was in danger, and so I had to rely on my spiritual practice to anchor me, to transform my fear back to faith. And, when I am consciously moving out, whether I'm at a prayer vigil or a protest, I am clear that an aspect of my faith is to actively promote promote justice. And as love, I'm a revolutionary like Jesus was a revolutionary. I'm a revolutionary like Mahatma Gandhi was a revolutionary. I'm a revolutionary like Siddhartha was a revolutionary. Okay, so that means what is right, what is just, what is justice, and what is love must be promoted. It must be lifted. It must be energetically presented in the most profound ways possible, because this is the energy of God. This is the energy of the presence. This is the energy of, and whatever we can possibly do to support each other in being absolutely free and being loved and respected and appreciated, then there is nothing that's going to stand in the way of me doing that.
Amen. I hear you. I love that. Mel, would you like to add? Did she freeze?
It looks like that.
It looks like she froze. Mel, if you can hear me,
Okay,
you may have,
girlfriend?
yeah, you may have to dial, drop out and come back. So I hope you can hear me because it looks like you're frozen. But you know, I love that I realized that I really had been asleep. And I had to own up to that. I'm very much aware of taking my ownership and not feeling a victim of racism, but also in that, the awake part was that my white brothers and sisters had to be accountable for who and what and how they are being and were being. And that was part of it that I thought was not as important as me not being a victim, but realizing that it all comes together. And I have to say that I'm very proud of our spiritual community, Universal Spirit Center, for standing up to speak it, to run different programs. I think the spiritual communities have to really step up, and action is required, be it action through protesting or writing or for defunding the police, definitely recognizing and owning up that racism is alive. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had some of my friends that came to me and said, I really never thought of it like that. And I would bring back, hey, you remember when we were in the store this time or that time, and this person was following us around, and I said, they're following, and you said, oh, you're being sensitive. What are you talking about? And having a very different conversation, because it takes all of us to participate in this. I got to touch into a little bit of the political world. You know, how do you keep your anchoredness, especially when I see some people of color that have gone to the dark side of the world and trying to say that that party, that person that has done so much for blacks, what does that do for you? How does that feel?
It's outrageous. I heard it the other day. Talk about how Trump has done more for black Biden, and how Biden was a white supremacist and all this craziness.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and the host, the radio host, can say, well, I guess we've got to hear all voices, you know. And so, like, you wonder about any one of the people that follow someone who is so presidential and bigoted and rude. You know, why are you following this person? And I, I, I know it's classes, races, and I had to take my power back in answer to your question. I had to take my power back because the energy that was being sucked out of me, I required that for what I need to do. So I had to get it back so that I could be effective in my own life. And it took me to go to a compassionate place and be in touch with his fear and be in touch with his needs. And it helped to level me out so that I wasn't getting sucked in with anger or frustration or whatever it was. So that I could just, be able to, keep my peace, because I've invested too much time and money into my peace.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. Esther?
And for me, I think consciousness is cause. And what we're seeing is the outpicturing of a collective consciousness. And so I don't really get caught up in the political, and I know it's easy to do, but I know that I'm a spiritual being first, having this human experience. And so I'm thinking at that level, looking at how we as spiritual beings can raise our consciousness in order to bring about a change
Yes.
at the level that this world needs to have. Trump was a necessary evil. He was necessary. Had he not come, we would have never seen the underbelly of America. Because with Hillary, it had been status quo. We'd have continued on like everything was great. This man was necessary. His time is, as far as I'm concerned, he's done what he needed to do. But it's up to us that know everything is mental. Everything comes from the mental. What are we thinking? What are we holding? I won't give it any energy. I will not. I will not allow any of my energy to be spent there. There's so much more that we can do in this world at this time, like vote,
Yes.
other than getting caught up in the minutia of all this. This is just, see, all of this is a distraction.
Right.
All of what's happening at that level is a distraction. And we have to raise our consciousness and envision the world that we want to see. We're in the middle of a grand transition. And how it turns out is based on what we create as a collective consciousness. So politics is going to be politics as far as I'm concerned. They're all the same. They try to pretend there's two different parties, but it's all the same, and that's all good. I just don't give it any energy. And I'm always asking, what is mine to do?
Hello.
What is mine to do in this situation? And one of the things I think is helping to educate people why we're here racially, why we're at this point, how did we get here? Going back to the core of what happened that created this, because if you don't know your past, you're bound to repeat it, and that's what we've been doing for the last 400 years, repeating our past because we never went back to where this began. And that's where it's going to be healed, at the core, at the beginning, where it started. So all this other conglomerate they got going on, it's a distraction. We got to stay focused. We got to stay with a strong vision of how we want to see our world and help that generation that's coming up to do, because they have the energy, they have the thoughts, they have the vision.
Yes.
They know what it looks like. We need to be there to support what we can and do what is ours to do. As the elders.
I love there are a few things I want to tap on, and I'm going to ask Sarah, because I see that Melanie is still stuck. Maybe if you bring me my phone and I can text her, because I'd love to get her back in. But getting on a couple of things that I'm like, yes, I believe that Trump was a necessary part to uproot, because there were people that literally tried to say that racism did not exist. What do you mean racism? It's like, what are you talking about? And going to different spiritual centers. Right. People thinking because we pray together that everybody is not a racist, and that was so not true. Racism is everywhere. And as someone schooled me, black people can't be racist because we don't control anything, but we can be
That's
prejudiced.
it.
And I
That's
was
it.
like,
That's
you're
it.
right.
That's it.
Yes,
And you know
right.
what? The most segregated hour in America is 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. How about that?
Say what again? Say that
Because
again.
the most segregated hour in America is around 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. Because these churches, these different are so segregated.
Yep. Yep.
Okay?
What? Let me
Think
just.
about it.
It's difficult for white people to understand that we have different experiences of life than they do, and that life is not comfortable for us a lot of times when they have the privilege of being oblivious to there being any kind of a problem.
Right.
And
They have
so
not had
it wasn't
to.
until they watched 8 minutes and 46 seconds of
Say
George
that.
Floyd's murder
Yes.
that
Say
they
that.
came to realize that this was nothing new. The casualness with which the police officer had his hand in his pocket. This is usual. This is nothing extraordinary. This is not an anomaly. This is a practice. This is a culture.
Yes.
And so that was shocking, and it awakened them to want to do something at the moment. But there are not as many people who want to continue to do that. But a lot of times they want black people to continue to be their teachers and guides
Yes.
rather than using the compassion and the passion that they might have had in a moment to continue to be part of a movement that requires their lead and participation in order to eradicate injustice and inequality.
That is well said. When people have the conversation, it's going to take a long time. Someday we're going to get over it. And that was the other point I wanted to touch on, Esther, in regards to our past. We have been reliving and reliving and reliving the past. It is it is the call of the universe that we now take this journey together, this uncomfortableness, this opportunity, and black people too saying, oh, maybe 1 year, I don't know if I'll ever see it. That whole conversation for me is our past conversation saying that things will never change. We have to elevate our consciousness and do the work continuously. And I call on all people to say, look, don't have that conversation that things will never change. What are you doing today to have that change? What are you doing today?
Right.
Now, I get it. When you look out, you may see that the entire world hasn't changed. But what are you doing in this moment to change? And so I think it is incredibly important that every platform that we have, that we keep talking about the fact that we can't do this by ourselves. We need everyone because it involves everyone.
And see,
And
what
we
I'm
need-
speaking about is history. History has been rewritten. So most white people don't really understand the gravity, the magnitude of what has happened to this race.
Yes.
They don't have a clue. But I believe if they knew the magnitude of the problem, they would be willing to help solve it because it has impacted them in a way. It has taken their humanity
Yes.
from them as well.
Beautifully said. It has
Okay.
taken their humanity away from them.
Hello?
When you can turn away from a child as a police officer, you can have a child lay down on 100-degree pavement and you
Hello?
think that's part of your job. That's your duty. It has absolutely taken your humanity and twisted it.
Well, think about this.
You know,
They have what was
there's
called
a
spectator pain, where they would dress up in
Yeah.
their Sunday dress and bring their children and
Yeah.
buttloads of children to watch another human being be hung and their extremities, their toes, their fingers, their genitals cut off. And they're looking at this
Yes.
as if this is normal, and then would bid on these parts of the body to take home and put on their, that is inhumane.
Yes.
And this has been passed down to the generations of white people. And you wonder why today the police can see that?
Yes.
Because they stole their humanity. And that is the price that they have paid that they have to give back as well.
That's
Not
well
only
said.
did they dehumanize the African race, the black race, but they had to give up something to do it. See, if you got a prisoner, you in prison too, because somebody got to watch that prisoner. How about that? Okay? So that's what
There's
I
another
said.
aspect.
We've got to go back to the past and understand what has been done here so that we can correct it. And
Yes.
it's not going to just take us as black people. That's what they always say. Oh, okay, we had an upset and we all rah, 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 and it's going to take a long time. And then they want to put a Band-Aid on it. No, baby, we got to get the core this time.
Yes.
And that means going back and understanding how they rewrote history, how they allowed the Daughters of Confederacy to put these monuments of all these criminals and all of these murderers, and they put them up like they're heroes.
Right?
And we allowed this, not just in the South, but in the North. That's like saying the Jews would allow them to put a
Hitler.
statue of Hitler
Yes.
in Germany. Come on,
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be real. But see, that's the uncomfortableness that they got to learn to study. You got to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable if we're going to fix this thing.
There you go.
And that's what needs to happen.
Thank you. Amen. Come on, Celeste. I know you've been
Amen.
chomping at the bit.
There's another aspect of history that we do need to go back to, that we do need to rely on, and that's the history of our African heritage. Because in African spirituality, we can find depths that are greater than any outer circumstance. Don't believe for one moment that the Africans who were enslaved 400 years ago weren't relying on a higher energy, weren't relying on a deeper knowing than their day-to-day present experience. And I believe that the young people today have caught a portion of that in their spirits. And that's the part that we have to cultivate. Because I am tired of being angry and I'm tired of being hurt. I
Yes.
am ready to reclaim my power.
See, and that's the other thing that you're saying,
Sarah? Sarah?
Celeste,
Sarah.
what you're saying is so
Sarah.
true. She's back. She's back.
Ah, very good. Okay, I was
Yes.
just.
That is so true, because it was our belief that we brought from the mother country that sustained us. And it wasn't until we accepted the God that they gave us that we began to deteriorate as a race. If we could have held on to the connection of spirit, the way that Africans brought it, that's what we have to do back. I agree 100% with you, Celeste.
Well, let's welcome Mel back. Melanie, I'm
Welcome,
glad you
Mel.
made it back. Something happened with your buffering, I don't know, but we're glad you're back. And so we're at,
But thank you.
I don't know if you could hear us or not, but we're here at this crossroad. And if you can, yeah, look, there we go with some light, see your beautifulness. We're here at the crossroad where the universe, the world, we're talking about how all of these events have come forward to play Trump, George Floyd, the pandemic, all of these things that have really put a spotlight on things that we as black people have known, but now our white brothers and sisters are getting a chance to see that. And understanding the uncomfortableness of things that we've been living with and the uncomfortableness that they have to recognize. And I have to say, Esther made a beautiful point in the fact that if you imprison someone, you are a prisoner as well. And the humanity that has been given up because of a lot of the things that white people have
For
done to us.
capitalism.
Yeah,
Capitalism.
they've done to us. So, how do you feel that this point in time, do you feel that it has helped expose? Do you feel that it has been a driving force? Or do you feel that this will kind of dwindle out and things will go back to status quo? Those are a lot of questions. You've been gone a while.
I think that it has helped expose. I'm trying to find myself in this.
I know, and move it, yeah. Come
Oh,
back.
the what? Let's see.
Now you sideways.
Now you there you go.
There
That's
you are,
that-
right
yeah,
there, right there.
right there is
Don't
great.
move.
Yeah.
So I think it has exposed people, and it has opened their eyes to the fact that they knew nothing about Black people. They know nothing. It's amazing. And so I don't think it's going to disappear. I think it must go on. I think that people must learn about Black people and how we have played a part in everything. And how, our lives do matter, period. And they just got to get used to it. That's what I feel.
I hear you. I hear you. In this place where we are right now, what do you feel is yours to do? How do you feel in the
I'm
current
sorry, in
climate?
terms of what?
What do you feel is
Right.
yours to do to move Black people forward, to awaken more white brothers and sisters, and to just keep the door open, keep the train on the track, keep it a moving? What do you feel is yours to do?
I feel, I have to think about this. Well, I feel that I still have to proceed as I've been doing. I mean, I embrace people of everybody.
Yes.
I've never had, where I had to stop and think about what I'm going to do so it's for me to continue the work that I've been doing. As a Buddhist, our concept is to embrace everyone.
Yes.
It doesn't matter white, black, pink, or green. So it is through my actions that I feel will make a difference in other people's lives. I don't really look at race today who I am unless they show it to me, unless they make me have to see it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, no. What do you mean if they have to make you see it?
If I'm in a situation where it's pointed out to me I'm Black, in one way or another, so they're bringing that up now.
Yes.
Before it was, we were just talking, but, usually within 5 minutes, people will bring it up.
Yes.
So now I'm recognizing, okay, now we're Black and white, and so what do I do with that? Do I step out the conversation? Or do I move forward and start having that conversation? They want to have that Black and white conversation. So I feel that I have to stay present and and have empathy for that person, and allow them to go through the changes that they may be going through, and essentially help them go through those changes, and just stay who I am.
Beautiful.
That
Beautiful.
is what I am here to do. Continue to be beautiful me.
There you go. Move your camera over just a little bit, your computer over just a little. There you go. The other way. The other
Right.
way. And so I would put that to Celeste and Esther as well. What do you feel is yours to do?
Well, I started diversity training a few years back. And so for me, there's a piece of that as an educator. But even before that, I've been an activist. For me, that means sometimes it's praying on a street corner. Sometimes it means I'm holding up a sign. Sometimes it means I'm voting, right? Sometimes it means I'm praying. So holding peace for my people, time where it is tumultuous.
Yes.
Sometimes it's me guiding diverse people, same space, back to oneness. Sometimes it's screaming out in anger and absolute disgust for the inhumane treatment of man to man or man to anything, man to earth, man to animal, whatever, or woman. And I'm not one to just sit there and twiddle my thumbs. I will write a letter.
Okay.
I will call the government, the local government, the FBI, the whoever agency needs to be invested, not been indicted. Someone who has not been, given the same kind of treatment that someone of my color gets when they commit the same type of crime, right? So I am not going to be quiet. I am intrinsically going to act, right? And so depending upon what is most expeditious, what inner passion is pushing me to do something.
Beautiful. Thank you. You're buffering just a little bit, but I know that people got the bulk of that really powerful. Esther,
What is mine to do?
what is
To
yours
be the
to
light
do?
that I know. And I believe that education, information, knowledge is so necessary during this time. I think as people begin to understand, race is a physical construct. We made that up. Okay?
Yeah.
There was no white people before the 1700s. They made that up. And just like they made it up, we can undo it. We can undo it as a community, as a consciousness. So what's mine to do is to always ask what's mine to do and then follow that inner voice in me as I'm led to do, and the opportunities open up for me to help people to understand just how powerful we are and to step out of the matrix of all this propaganda that things are so horrible and we can't do this and we got to do this on the government, da, 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 and understand that we're spiritual beings endowed with the power of our Creator, and that we have the power to change this thing. And that's what this transformation, this pause in time is all about. For us to understand who and what we are. Okay? Because I understand the protesting, I understand the talking to the politics, all of that. But see, all those institutions must be dissolved so that we can build again a nation, a world of peace, love, joy, where we all are treated in an equal way. Because again, it's so easy to get caught up in the buzzwords of the time and go down that road. But we have an opportunity, we have a window to change this whole thing. And each one, hold the high watch for the vision that we want. And that's what I feel is mine to do. is to help awaken all the light beings that are here and don't know they're light beings.
Yes.
All those that are powerful spiritual beings and don't really understand. You know, all it takes is a word. It just takes one word that'll turn that switch on and they'll realize, oh, look at here, look at here. We can change this, and that's what I believe. And I think all the protests, all that's good. But after that, then what? I'm at the then what?
I'm in
I'm
such.
at the then what, girlfriend?
I love that, because then what for me, I love that, because I believe that we can absolutely change. But one of the things we have to change is that this is not about trying to reconfigure what is
Nope.
here. What is here, it is complete, it is done. We must recognize that this, what is no longer where we're going. And so I really think, you know, we can't go back. And what's happening now, yeah, you look at all of the arenas, our political arena, our schools, banking, housing, our food, everything is on this mountaintop, really getting ready as we do unfold to but create a new vibrational existence. And I feel like, wow, how exciting that is, that I'm
Yes.
a part
Yes.
of this time. We are the minds and hearts that can take
Right.
us to this next level. And so, yes,
And then when we,
Yeah,
when we
we're part of the
realize,
revolution.
they worried about the virus, when we realize we are the virus,
yes,
we are the virus on this
wow,
earth, when we realize that,
yeah.
that virus will dissipate. And we'll move on to something great. See, they worried about the virus. The virus will do what it got to do until we wake up
Till we wake up.
and realize
See, I don't
you
think
got
the
awakening Wednesday. We got to wake up.
I
This
don't
is the time of awakening.
I think everything is in perfect and divine time. So I don't think the pandemic
question.
was out of alignment, the
All of
Trump
it.
out of alignment. I think
All of it.
everything was played in the way, because this was like, I was like, we're giving birth. We're giving birth to something brand new. I don't even know the language for it yet, but I know that it's there, that it's possible.
If any of you are mothers, and have given birth, you know there's some pain when you're birthing. And we're in that birthing time. We going through that little pain.
Yes, we are.
Birth something new. And that's the beauty of what's happening as we begin to awaken. As we begin to recognize who we are as a collective consciousness, will change this. This new earth will come forth.
Let me ask each of you this question. I mean, I know I'm feeling the energy and the excitement of what's unfolding here. In the new paradigm, I think a lot of times before we can get there, what's some of the old that we have to let go of? So I'm going to give you a few moments. If there's a story, there is an experience that you have held on to that keeps you sometimes from totally letting go and being open. And while you're thinking, I'll just start with me. That, you know, the story that I'm a black woman from a black family that has never had any money, that and money has been my Kilimanjaro. It has been my mountaintop. The stories that I have held about myself that I learned from the outside in, and as my spiritual work deepened, I learned that these were things that I came to believe, and in that belief, I have recreated it over and over again. So I woke up the other morning having this divine desire to create radical kindness revolution. That this is an opportunity to practice living in a conscious state of being for a year. that shifts where I am, that can shift where the world is, that can shift where we are. And so this is something that I'm working on, and over the next month, once I pull it together, I'm going to send you guys links to see if you'd like to participate. It'll be something done, I believe, on Zoom with a Facebook group page. But I believe for me to let go of this story, that this shell of who I've said I was, it's also like the shell of God, that God was in this box. And I've broken out of that box because I was raised Catholic. So for me, Catholic, God was blonde and blue-eyed. And I had to go through Jesus, and I didn't understand all that as a kid. So like you, Esther, I got in a lot of problems. I got into a lot of trouble. I got into a lot of trouble. And so it's breaking this manifold that I am a person of color that's limited, that I am a minority, that whole, ooh, I gotta let this go, because if I see myself as that, of course the world will continue to see me like that. So that's my story, and the kindness project that I'm working on is my way of shifting that consciousness and shifting life as I know it. Anyone that's ready, speak on up.
Well, for me, this particular year has been so full of major life changes. And I know that this is a revolution that is being televised. Okay. And I know that it's not an outer revolution, it's an inner revolution. And my part as a rebel is to lead people back into their spirit. And for me, I have become exhausted fighting what's external to me. When I realized that I have been teaching that the power of God is within me, I'm no longer looking to man for the solutions. So for me, it is a journey within, and anybody who wants to come with me is welcome. And if nobody wants to come, I'm going myself. I make it as public as I can, many things on social media to say this is where I'm headed,
Yes.
this is what my faith compels me to do, and I know that I have had an impact and an inspiration to other people by what I do more than what I say.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm absolutely committed to continuing that journey and to share my revelations and to share the enlightenment and the wisdom that I get from my source.
And is there a story you have to let go of?
The story is that I don't have to deplete myself with my fight. That the fight is for something and not against something.
Awesome. Thank you. Who wants to go next?
Yeah.
I'll go.
Okay.
For myself, I have to let go of not believing in myself. I mean, I do, but I don't. I have to let go of that. I have to let my voice be heard. I've noted throughout this year, it's been very hard, of course, everyone knows this,
Oh,
but I find that more and more people are coming to me wanting to hear what I have to say about different issues, about different situations. And I've always been very quiet and kind of to myself. You know that, Gina.
yes, I do.
Yes, and so I find myself talking more, making myself being more involved, speaking up. You know, In my community, I'm very active. I'm very active. I mean, I see in print my picture, and then it says lesbian activist.
Mm.
And I'm looking at that person thinking, that's me, you know? So I've been active doing things and being involved and speaking out and being strong. And that's my label that I've come up with, activist.
Yes.
And I love that. And so I'm letting go of that little person who, doesn't wanna, I don't wanna say too much. I'm just
Yes.
gonna, I gotta just keep talking until people hear it. They get it in their hearts.
Yes.
So I'm really working on that. That's a big deal for me.
I love it. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Esther?
So I'm sitting here trying to think. I'm thinking about what you just asked because, because I know that I live in an unlimited universe. So I've never really had an issue with money. When I need it, it shows up.
I
And
know. I know that about you.
baby, it shows up. So you say, what's my story? See, my story has been for a long time that I didn't see myself the way other people saw. I was hiding. Now, I stand 5'10", okay, and I carry quite a bit of girth with me. So I don't know what I thought I was hiding or who I thought I was hiding from. But I realized that I had to stop hiding.
Yes.
I had to stop hiding and say yes. When spirit brought it to me, say yes. Just say yes.
Yes.
Just say yes. Because there's so many people that need to hear our messages.
Yes.
I get downloads constantly. And I was asking spirit, I'm like, why do you keep giving me? What am I supposed to do with all this stuff?
Right.
I only have so much room. I'm supposed to give it out. I'm supposed to allow it to flow. And so I think that's the story that I'm letting go that people don't see me. They see me. I'm the one that was crooked, thinking I was hiding. Okay? I'm the one that, I don't know. I mean, and not only am I confused as I am when I walk in the room, I cast a big shadow.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, this is just really unfolding to me. But we are all like beings. We are all like beings. We have to stand up in that light and let it shine. So those that have not allowed their lights to be ignited can see.
We give them permission. Yes, we give them permission.
To allow
Yes.
their light to shine.
Yes.
And so, I'm not doing any special program or anything, but opportunities like that are just kind of showing up at my door. The other thing I had to come to grips with is that I am what you would call a nun, None, because I don't claim any religion, any form of doctrine. I'm just a vessel. For a long time I had problems saying that I wasn't a Christian because, most black people see another black person, they automatically like you're a Christian, right?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't get with all of that.
Wait, Christian
I'm
and
like,
Baptist. You're
wait a
Christian
minute.
and you're Baptist.
I was raised not Baptist, I was raised holiness. And that's real strict. Pentecostal. And I was like, what are these people talking about? That's why I was always in trouble too. Because I didn't understand what they were doing. I didn't understand what they were talking about. They made me learn the Bible. A lot of that didn't make sense to me. And I'm
Yes.
like, what is this? But I had to get comfortable with being a nun. I respect them all. Buddhist, Hindu, Tao, Christianity, all of them. I know them, Muslim. I love the Sufis, all of it.
Yes.
But I don't have to be a part of it. I can be who I am. I'm an interface minister, which means I acknowledge and recognize and respect them all. But I know that my relationship with divine it's not it's not dependent on some title. There are many, many roads to the mountaintop, but we all
Absolutely.
so whatever it is that we tried to take, you know what I mean? I
Yes,
just decided that, I need to be comfortable in being that. I need to be comfortable in what I know. I need to accept the gifts that I brought with me and let that
yes,
shine. And I think that's important for all of us that know, that have been awakened, that have some inkling. Allow your gifts to grow. The world needs them now. This is the time that we have to allow our light to shine, to be beacons for those that are trying to find their way, to
yes,
find their way,
yes,
you know?
yes.
So, that's
I
my
love
story.
it.
I'm sticking to it.
I love it. I love what each of you have said. And I will add to that that, sometimes we get caught up in how many people we can reach. The thing is, if you can reach up a person, if you
One.
can hold that light even for you on certain days, because this is a journey. It's a glorious journey, but when giving birth, and I say it like I've had a child, I have not, but I've known others that have. It's a process.
Baby?
Yes, yes, yes.
And so I applaud each of you because being here, this is part of the process of being able to share nakedly and openly who you are, some of your experiences, and what you feel. I know we've gotten a couple of chats. Do we have a couple that we can put up just before?
I just want to say this before you do that. Our strength is in our vulnerability.
Yes.
So I had to learn that. And when you can be vulnerable, ain't nobody got nothing on you. You can stand strong. The strength is in your vulnerability.
Well, without that, you know, the call to do anything, the call to sit and pray, the call to protest, the call to write a letter, the call to have that uncomfortable conversation. One of our sweet practitioners here at Universal, a couple of weeks ago when I did kitchen conversations, I did an update, and the energy was really, really thick, and it was intense, and it was a lot of energy, and she got triggered. And so the beautiful thing is that she had the conversation with me, and I had the conversation with her as well to say, hey, you know, there's been so many times that I have shut myself down from not expressing what I felt. It doesn't mean it's what you feel, but it is absolutely what I was feeling, and it was my truth. And
Yes.
that being said, in this, as we get ready to wrap this up, this now time, what is the truth that you will hold to? What will you hold to be your truth through this journey? And anyone want to answer it?
That I'm a spiritual
I
being.
am the I am, you know,
And
and I am on purpose
let
to
that be.
be
Wait a minute, I got both of you happening.
exactly what I was created to be.
Fantastic, fantastic. Esther?
No, I was saying I'm a spiritual being having a spirit. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and as long as I can remember that, I will always operate from that higher place. I will always stand and hold that higher faith. I will always come from a place of truth, a place of love, and hold the high ground, not just for me, but for all those in my sphere of influence.
I love it. Melanie?
I resonate very much with what you just said. And myself, a place of truth is basically coming from my heart. Always like I always come from my heart. Because that's where, for me, the truth lies.
Ha.
It's from my heart.
I love it. I want to thank each of you. This has been a powerful, packed night. I thank you for your honesty. I thank you for your sincerity. But most importantly, I thank you that each of you have said yes to the journey and to the call. And it is absolutely a joy and a pleasure to have spent this time with you. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Gino,
you.
for
Thank
having
you
us.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. This is our conscious giving time now. As we get ready, and you see there are many ways that we can support our wonderful center.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. Thank you, Universal Spirit Center, for your divine givingness, for your constant and loving support financially, emotionally, spiritually, and with divine action. It is absolutely magnificent. These divine spirits that have come on this evening out of love and support for knowing that the world can be a better place, I want to thank them. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Melanie. And thank you, Celeste. Your light and love will fill us all for sure. And, if you go to universalspiritcenter.org, you get an opportunity to see some of the things that we got going on. And we are busy with the busyness. Our racial equality project. This month, the movie is I Am Not Your Negro by James Baldwin. And remember that it is our divine opportunity this time that we will come together on October the 30th to absolutely unpack the movie. So you get an opportunity throughout the month to look at the movie at your own leisure. And on the 30th at 6:30, we'll come into our community Zoom and we will unpack that. This is part of the action that keeps us moving forward, that keeps the divine opportunity for this new birthing that we are creating for it to happen. Also, it is vote, 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 vote. I know that everybody at Universal Spirit Center, all your family and your friends, are registered to vote. So I know we've had quite a few people that have already filled their ballots out, that have sent them in. If you haven't, the earlier, the better, so that you don't have to get into the hustle and bustle of things. But know that your voice counts. No matter whom or what you're voting for, your voice counts, and we need it. And for those that may not be clear, be open to share with them what some of the propositions are. Share with them in the political and presidential debate. Share with them what's going on. Have this conversation. This is beautiful time to talk and connect and understand that the way our system is set up, the system needs to be deconstructed. And so we have this opportunity to vote. Also, check out some of our classes that are coming up. I believe Lee Armentrout has a wonderful book study that will take place. I know he has a few more spaces available. Go on the web page and check that out. It is an absolute joy. I have to give such love and shouts out to my Sarah Adams. Beautiful job running. She ran the whole production tonight, just doing the doggone thing. It was fantastic. And of course, to none other than our Linda Ely. Hey, so wonderful. The music that Linda provides. And just her wonderful presence. This crew, and our Dormini is not here tonight, but no, we are holding her in spirit. She is off doing other action to move us, forward in consciousness. So I thank you, Universal Spirit Center. I thank you for being present. Share. Oh, one last thing. Our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is looking for you. If you are a creator and you want to create something for YouTube, please connect with Tony or Lee. Actually, if you connect with Lee at Universal Spirit Center, send him your ideas. They will work with you to get it up and running. We want to share this light and love with the world, and YouTube is a way of doing that. So if you have a creative idea that you think will work, that, as we call it, our spiritual toolkit. At Universal Spirit Center, we provide spiritual tools for each and every person that cross our path. So we'd love to have you participate in that. Oh, let's take the breath and be in the blessing. Be in the glorious blessing that in this divine moment, right here, right now, that I am blessed, that you are blessed, that we are blessed. And just take that love and hold it over your heart right now. Feeling this blessing, feeling that the universe is filled with the loving presence of the all magnificence of God. For I am, you are, we are the divine presence. I love you. I look forward to seeing you next week on Awakening Wednesday with our own beloved practitioner, Mary. You are a blessing to this universe. We are a blessing to each other. I thank you. I bless you. And I'll see you next week.